Welcome to This Explainer. Ever wonder why you do the things you do like every single day completely without thinking about it? Beneath the surface of our normal routines, like the crazy fact that the average person taps their phone over 2,600 times a day, there are these invisible, powerful psychological forces basically running the show. They're constantly shaping our decisions, our habits, and our emotions. Today, we're going to expose those hidden systems. We're diving into how your brain makes all these little shortcuts, following instincts that evolved thousands of years ago. Instincts that are, frankly, trying to survive in a modern world they were never, ever designed for.
Okay, think about your own morning routine for a second. You wake up, open your eyes, and boom. Why do you check your phone the absolute moment you wake up? It feels like an instinct, right? Almost this uncontrollable reflex to reach for that glowing little screen before you're even fully conscious. Or how about the way advertisements just somehow seem to know exactly what you want before you even do? Listen, these aren't just random accidental habits, and they definitely aren't personal failings. They are deeply, deeply ingrained psychological responses. And it goes way further than just grabbing a device. Why do we sit there and constantly compare our real lives to total strangers online? It's such a painful modern tendency. We literally spend hours scrolling, staring at these beautifully curated, perfectly filtered highlight reels of other people's lives. The epic vacations, the flawless meals, the crazy fitness transformations. And we almost inevitably walk away feeling, well, somehow inadequate. Which brings us to this really wild paradox. Why, despite living in literally the absolute most comfortable era in human history, do so many of us still feel incredibly stressed, lonely, and just totally overwhelmed? Think about it. We have unprecedented safety, technology, and convenience right at our fingertips, yet our stress levels are just off the charts. What you're experiencing here is called an evolutionary mismatch. Basically, your ancient brain is desperately trying to navigate a highly engineered modern world. By the time we finish this explainer, I promise you, you might never look at your daily routine the same way again. So here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the autopilot illusion. Then we're going to cover hijacked attention, ancient brains, and FOMO, the comfort trap, compounding choices, and finally, taking back control. Let's get into it. Starting with Section 1, the autopilot illusion, all about the decisions we make on autopilot. You know when you drive home from work, you pull into your driveway, and you realize you barely remember the trip? Were you actually paying attention to the road? Not really. This happens because a massive chunk of your brain operates entirely on autopilot. It does this to conserve mental energy. Psychologists actually estimate that thousands of decisions happen every single day without any conscious thought from you whatsoever. Brushing your teeth, locking your front door, mindlessly typing your password, walking your usual route through the neighborhood. Once a habit forms, your brain just hands the steering wheel over to its automatic systems to save a ton of effort. But here is the catch. Modern tech companies understand this mechanism perfectly. They actively design their apps, websites, and products to slip right into your automatic routine. The less you have to actively think about using them, the more often you're going to return.
Which leads perfectly into Section 2, hijacked attention, how our focus gets stolen by screens.
Ever open your phone just to quickly check the time and somehow 20 minutes later you're still scrolling? Yeah, me too. But honestly, you shouldn't just blame a lack of discipline here. Your attention is literally one of the most valuable resources in the modern economy, and these platforms are ruthlessly competing to steal every single second of it. How? Through a psychological concept called variable rewards. Social media acts exactly like a slot machine in Vegas. Sometimes you scroll and you see something absolutely hilarious. Sometimes it's shocking. And sometimes it's just totally boring. Because the reward is completely unpredictable, your brain goes into overdrive, frantically searching for the next interesting hit. Your brain starts releasing dopamine, not because you actually found something rewarding, but because you are anticipating one. Every swipe could literally be the jackpot. And that is exactly how a simple 5-minute phone check magically transforms into an hour-long scrolling marathon. Moving on to Section 3, ancient brains and FOMO, that classic fear of missing out. Have you ever felt that sharp, sudden pang of anxiety when you see a photo of your friends at an event that you weren't invited to? It's really easy to just brush that off as some modern weakness caused by smartphones, but actually, that feeling is much, much older than the internet. For early humans, being excluded from the tribe wasn't just a bummer, it was a literal matter of life and death. Being left out could mean losing protection, food, basically survival itself. So our brains evolved to pay extremely close attention to social inclusion.
Fast forward to today, a missed invitation obviously doesn't threaten your survival, but your ancient brain, it still reacts exactly as if it does. And making matters worse, social media has expanded our so-called tribe from a few dozen local folks to millions of people globally. We are unfairly comparing our totally ordinary, boring Tuesdays to the carefully curated vacation highlights and absolute peak successes of thousands of strangers. It creates these completely impossible standards that our brains simply were not built to process.
All right, Section 4, the comfort trap, or the era of endless convenience.
Modern life has miraculously solved so many of the physical challenges our ancestors had to face. Food is super easy to get, our homes are climate-controlled and safe, and technology saves us massive amounts of time and labor. But all this unprecedented comfort has triggered an entirely new set of problems, all thanks to a mechanism called efficient energy conservation. Basically, your brain evolved to constantly seek the easiest possible path. If food is available instantly, you'll instinctively choose convenience. If endless entertainment is just one click away on your couch, your brain will absolutely prefer sitting and watching over actually doing work. I really want to be clear here. This isn't laziness, okay? It is an ancient survival instinct of efficient energy conservation that used to help humans survive brutal periods of starvation and scarcity. The problem is, our modern environment provides infinite comfort without requiring any effort, and our ancient instincts simply haven't caught up to the fact that we aren't starving anymore.
Up next is Section 5, Compounding Choices and the Power of Small Daily Habits.
So how on earth do we actually navigate this hyper-modern world with these ancient brains? Well, most people tend to think that lives change through these massive, dramatic, sweeping decisions, but psychology tells us a totally different story. A life isn't built from a few dramatic moments. It's built from tiny, ordinary choices repeated over and over and over again. Reading just 10 pages of a book, taking a short 15-minute walk, prioritizing getting enough sleep. Each action seems completely insignificant on its own, right? But over months and years, these tiny choices compound into massive life changes. And look, the exact same thing is true for the negative habits. Just 5 extra minutes of scrolling in bed, skipping just one workout, putting off one important task. None of these feel serious in isolation, yet put together day after day, they quietly and powerfully shape exactly who you become. Which brings us to our final part, Section 6, Taking Back Control, because awareness is everything. So, if your brain is constantly being pulled by these hidden psychological forces, are you just completely powerless? Like, is it hopeless? Absolutely not. Awareness changes literally everything. You don't have to escape modern life and go live in the woods. You simply have to understand how it's affecting you. The scientific reason for all this hope is a little thing called neuroplasticity. This is your brain's incredible, proven ability to change, adapt, and actually physically build new pathways through experience. Your brain is highly adaptable, so even if you've spent years engaging in automatic behaviors, scrolling endlessly, and falling deep into that comfort trap, you can build new habits. The absolute first step to breaking that cycle is just simply noticing what is influencing you in the moment.
And here is exactly how you grab the wheel and step off autopilot. Step 1. Notice what influences you. Just start recognizing when your attention is being hijacked, or when that social comparison is starting to ruin your mood. Step 2. Pause before reacting. Give yourself that one crucial tiny second between feeling an impulse and actually taking action. Just breathe. And step 3. Choose intentional actions. You can literally choose to just put your phone away. You can go take a walk without a podcast playing. You can actively choose to spend your time creating habits that actually serve your life goals, instead of just serving some tech company's bottom line.
The very second you recognize the hidden psychology behind your everyday actions, you stop living on autopilot. You start making choices with pure intention instead of blind impulse. And honestly, that is one of the most powerful skills you can possibly develop today. I want to leave you with a quick challenge. The next time you instinctively reach for your phone, just pause and ask yourself, are you making a choice right now, or is an ancient instinct making it for you? Which of these hidden psychological effects controls your day the most? Is it social comparison, the endless doom scrolling, the FOMO, or just your automatic habits? Drop your answer in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning those hidden forces around you.